Hello, everyone. Today I have a new guest, Sheenay from the United States. She is going to share her perspective on how to build wealth through the wellness road. Because often, while building wealth, a lot of people ignore the wellness route and then they invite health issues, relationship issues. That there are many famous people who have relationship issues and they are well known. I don't need to take any names, but they don't live a holistic lifestyle. And this is why today we will be focusing on how to build wealth through the wellness road. Welcome, Shinai.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Share your journey into the financial education and what inspired you to focus on the wellness as a pathway to wealth.
Sure. Okay. So for me, I always wanted to learn how money works and how we can make money work for ourselves. So being given an opportunity to learn at my own pace, all of that, like how money works and how we can make it work for us was a plus for me. So I'm the type of person that I like to go through things myself. I like to educate myself. I like to have the actual experience. And then when I receive all of that, I like to be the testimony of what it is that I've went through, and I like to educate people or other people about it. So I'd rather be the what you would call the experimental person, the guinea pig, the person who actually goes through it. And then I would like to give the feedback, okay, this is how it worked. This is what worked for me. This is what didn't work. This is a much easier route. This route is much more complicated. So I like to be the first to experience it so that I can educate people better on how to move more better when it comes to wellness and wealth. So I'm passionate about what I do in my personal life, which is educating people on anything, that I experience and go through. So I figured why not do it professionally in a more wellness and wealth environment though. So also, I just feel like why not make this a win-win situation across the board for all parties involved. And what inspired me to focus on wellness is the fact that wellness is wealth. That's number one. So if we do not prioritize or realize that it's important to take care of ourselves first, then our health will decline and we won't be able to receive the wealth that we're looking for in other ways.
What common mindset shifts are necessary for individuals to transition from financial stress to financial empowerment?
Well, first things first is we as people need to understand and categorize needs versus wants. And with that being said, you have to truly start to understand what you need, like as far as what it is that we absolutely have to have or need to have in order to survive versus, what you can do without or what you need to live with. So once we understand that, you can circle back around and look into it later as far as like keeping a mindset to adapt and learn. So, for example, things happen in life. You can come from having not a lot of money to now you have less than what you have. Now it's time to prioritize what you need versus what you want. So the things that you used to spend money on, which was, oh, I don't even have to look at it. Now you have to look at the price. Now you have to budget. So we just have to understand that what it is we truly want is not a necessity. And we should be okay and accepting to the fact of putting it to the side for a later time to review and see if we can get it versus, okay, this is what I need right now. This is what I need to go through. This is what I have to focus on. So, another thing is keeping in mind to adapt and learn how to pay ourselves first. A lot of people are not aware that we need to pay ourselves first. And people may wonder, like, well, what do you mean by that? What I mean is, it's very simple. Like, whatever amount of money you receive, the minimum, you should take at least 10% out of what you receive. For example, if somebody owes you money or a paycheck from work, and let's say, for example, you made $1,000 after, taxes and everything is taken out, take 10% of that and put it to the side in a savings account, an emergency fund, something like that. Pay yourself first because it's important. Because at the end of the day, You will pay these other people, but paying yourself first is for you. You worked hard for this money, so why not reward yourself or have a backup plan for yourself by paying yourself first?
Absolutely. And here are two calls to action for the audience. One, make a need versus wants list. So you can make a table of two columns. On the left hand side, put the needs. On the right hand side, put the wants. And accordingly prioritize. And number two, pay yourself at least 10% of whatever paycheck you receive. Because why? Because you did all the work, so you should be paid, shouldn't you?
Absolutely.
How do you advise clients to stay motivated when progress feels slow or even setbacks occur?
Well, first off, I do not know people's belief system, as far as religion or anything like that. But for me, you truly have to have faith and you really have to trust in the process. That's an important thing. Have faith, and with that, that pushes you to trust in the process. You have to keep in mind that setbacks happen because the reward is much bigger in a comeback, is what I believe. Just because things are delayed does not mean that it's denied, and rejections are God's protection if you believe in God or whatever your belief is. But just know that that's your protection. Sometimes rejections are our protection from something that was not meant to be. And then you have to be patient and know that all things happen for a reason. We have to just allow things to take time and go with the flow. That way you can see everything that's happening and all that you need to happen, and you'll be rewarded in a way that you didn't expect. So maybe one way you were expecting something to go and it didn't work out at that moment, at that time. That's okay, because it might work out even better than you expected and you might get more out of it. So just be patient, go with the flow, let things play out the way it needs to. And, just keep in mind, you have to keep fighting to go through it in order to see what's on the other side and to be able to overcome it. So just faith, consistency, persistence, patience.
With consistency, faith, and patience, you know, do uh, think through all of your actions, and at no point should you lose patience, because then that becomes the worst thing that you can do. Would you like to share any stories?
Let's see if I have a story.
See if you have any stories to share before we wrap up.
Okay. Sure. For instance, a couple years back, there was a client that didn't too much know about 401ks and how they worked. It was the beginning, it was around like maybe 2022 or something like that. When we had in America, we had an inflation. So everything, prices and everything were going up, and in the stock market, it was dropping. And this particular client was afraid because they were losing hundreds of dollars out of their account. So they instantly reneged and said, you know what, I want to take out of the market that I'm currently in, and I just want to go into where it's just money market value, which means whatever you add to it, that's what you accumulate versus adding to it and then also having a stock market add to it when it goes up. You get more money when you allow the stock market to take its course and play out. But this particular person was feared of that. And because they did that, like a few months or that next year when the stock market went back up, they lost thousands of dollars because they didn't trust in the process, they weren't well educated, and they did not wait, just to go with the flow and let everything play out. So instead of receiving more money, now they have less than what they could have had. So the whole point is to sometimes go with the flow, trust the process, educate yourself, and when you realize how it works, everything's going to work out for you.
Thank you so much, Shinai, for sharing those wonderful insights. And audience, I hope you have started working on the call to action from this session, and I hope this session adds a lot of value to you and to your prosperity in the long term, sustained prosperity,
Absolutely.
abundance, wealth. Thank you, Shinai.
Thank you so much.